still coming in, and people are still coming in. And while they do, I want to do a quick introduction of our speaker today. This is the second in a series of quarterly membership events. We'll be having two more later in the year. But today we have the honor of having our incoming district governor-elect, Dennis Franklin, who's going to, he was the membership director before me, and he's going to give us a great talk about membership. And without further ado, I'm going to turn over to him while I get his slides going. Dennis, take it away.
Thank you, Zoot. Appreciate the kind words too. Hopefully they're a little bit I can live up to them. Thank you. But anyway, today we're going to be talking about membership made easy, and we have named it that for a purpose. We want it to be something simple that people can implement and actually do something with it. So membership is the foundation of what we do in Rotary, because it's the people in our clubs that fuel all the service that we do, that create that atmosphere, that we could have that sense of belonging, that connection that we have. And almost every one of our clubs wants to grow. Most of them, though, do not have a system in place to help them do that. And as a result, are struggling. And I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Glendora. And 20 years ago, the Rotary Club of Glendora had over 60 members. But a few years ago, that number fell to about 28. In other words, we lost over half of our members over time. And a show of hands here, has that happened to anybody else's club that's on this call? Right? It's a common ailment that we've had, because the world has changed, and in a lot of ways that had negatively impacted the way that Rotary was structured. And little by little, clubs are now figuring out how to deal with that, and are starting to have a comeback on it. And we're doing a decent job as a whole, but again, it's a different world. But if your club is struggling, like my club was as far as membership is concerned, I'm here to tell you that today is your lucky day. And the reason why is that we have a system, a step-by-step system to help you intentionally grow. And what we're going to do is we're going to take the best practices from the clubs who are growing and show you what exactly are they doing. And as I told you, I'm a member of the Rotary Club of Glendora, and this is what we put in to help revive our club. And we've gone from 28 members. We were at one point 60. We went down to 27, 28. We're now at about 45 members. And so we're on a good trajectory. And we have a strong Interact club, which we didn't have. And that's doing some great things. And we just started a Rotaract club. That jury remains to be seen whether we really pull that off. But the Rotaract club, we put that in place as well. And what I'm going to share is really the proven way to do it. It's based on the project, the best practices of not just our club, but all the different clubs that we've had an opportunity to see who's doing it and how are they doing it, the most successful clubs, and quite frankly, just copy what they're doing or take the best pieces out of them and apply them. So my question to you, everybody, is, Gino, are you ready to rumble? Come on, I need a smile from you, Gino. Come on. All right. I want to start by saying, first off, that growing membership really happens with intentional effort. Without intentional effort, it's very difficult. So I got a question. Who here is somebody?
Here.
Pretty much all of us are somebody, right? You know, a person or a group of people to make membership happen have to have an effort put in. Otherwise, the club won't see results. Somebody has to take responsibility for putting on a membership drive to make things happen, to develop the memberships, um, you know, system, whatever you want to call it. But somebody has to take the responsibility for the job. So if somebody has to take on the responsibility, who can tell me what you think might be the first thing that you would consider that we'd have to do if we want to grow membership? Somebody give me an answer. What's the first thing? If somebody has to take on the responsibility, what's the first thing should we be looking at doing?
think you need a plan.
All right.
You need like some sort of a plan, at least a skeleton plan of activities you're going to do to build membership.
Okay. Yeah. And
Membership leadership.
yeah, the membership leadership, that's kind of where I was trying to go. What first person said was correct. And Larry, you were saying what I was going after. Somebody has to take the responsibility for doing it, setting some leadership in that says, hey, I want to be the person who helps us because you know what? I'm somebody. Somebody needs to do it. Well, I'm somebody. All right. So Zoot, I know, has mentioned, and Zoot, if I ask who's in charge of your membership committee and says, well, everybody's on the membership committee, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, somebody has to take the ultimate responsibility, but it's true. Each one needs to invite one. Every person in the club should be inviting a potential Rotarian to join the club.
Yeah, and if nobody is taking the responsibility for driving it, in other words, hey, we're all on membership, and if nobody's taking the responsibility, um, that's a problem. Because what usually happens is the club struggles, that somebody has to take the responsibility on. So if we want a club to grow their membership, they need to have somebody who steps up to lead, just what Larry was saying. You have to have a leader to do that. And the leader doesn't need to be a genius or somebody that is the world's greatest salesperson or anything else. It just needs to be somebody who makes sure that proper steps are being taken. And by the way, I mentioned this on the president-elect call that we did last night. If you once you identify that person, please put them onto DACDB and note them as the membership chair. Because then when Zoot sends out stuff to membership for different tools or different training or whatever other resources that we have, somebody's going to get it. But we have to identify that person. So that's really step number one. And then once the club has identified that person or that committee that'll be responsible for growing the membership, the next thing to do is to do just, I think it was Carolyn or Barbara that said setting up goals and establishing a clear plan for establishing those goals. Which one of you ladies said that? That was
It was Carolyn.
Carolyn. All right. All right. So, you know, today we want this to be a little bit more of a workshop. And we want those of you who've raised your hand and said, hey, I'm willing to be somebody in your club that takes on the job to walk away with a plan and have tools that you can use to implement the plan. In other words, we want it to be here's your membership plan in a box. And then obviously every club's different. You'll have to adapt that to whatever it is that you're doing. But there are certain tools and there are certain systems that work for just about everybody. All right. Um, and if that person is not necessarily the person on the call, at least you'll have a plan that you can hand the membership person and say, here's what I'm suggesting. Here's what I saw. You might want to check out this video that we did. So let's say we have oops, I just did something on my screen. There we go. We have a plan. Whose club do we want to use as as a guinea pig. Carolyn, since you were talking about a plan, should we use your club?
Sure.
All right. What's your club?
Lancaster Sunrise.
Lancaster Sunrise. And how many people do you have in your club now?
We are something like 24, 25.
All right. How many do you think you want to have in the next year? You're going to be the president next year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, yes. And I'm the membership chair now. I've been the membership chair for a couple of years. What you said exactly happened with COVID. I joined during COVID, and I'm not really in the area proper. So it was really a weird assignment to
Mhm.
because I don't even live in Lancaster, but nonetheless, I was willing to help. And and we lost a lot of people. So as hard as we were bringing people in, we were losing people at the same time. I mean, we had a significant percentage of our people who actually left, like literally moved out of the area. So that actually caused me to kind of rethink the problem and have to restructure and be realistic with the goals that we were sent and plans that we were putting together. And I know it made some people crazy because I was looking at it from a legacy standpoint, not a quick fix, not a let's go find a member for this year to, check a box, but let's really look for some long-term members, the right age group, the right interest. And that takes longer. It takes a little longer to do that.
But it
So,
establishes things, and that's exactly what you want to do. Is you see a
yeah,
lot of times that people are their clubs will be a flash in the pan, but to sustainable, you want to have
yes,
things in place to make it work, and that's the people you want in that are there for a purpose. They know why they're there, and whatever that reason is, that the club is fulfilling it. They're giving them the value that they're requesting, and it's happening.
yeah.
All right, so
So,
let's roll with this then. Um, Before we look at that club as an example, um, the first thing that we need to do, it's up on the screen here, is we need to start by having something that's worth inviting people to. We want to plan events, service projects that we're proud of. We want a dynamic speakers that come in that are our program. We want to have fun, have social gatherings that people enjoy being with each other. If we're doing fundraisers, that they're meaningful and it's something that people can get behind. So I'm going to throw it out to the group. Um, what kind of service projects that you're doing? What are you most proud of in your service projects that you can invite people to? What hands-on projects do you have that you can invite people to, that people will come and be excited about being there?
Probably our biggest one is our Santa Claus every year,
Mhm.
where we got 300 kids together at all the penny stores at all the different malls and gave each $300 gross, 250 net to go shopping. We had volunteers to walk them through through the departments, and we had volunteers being cashiers, and we had the police department there. We had the Clark County School District there. We had just about everything you could imagine, participation in the community. We've been doing that for a lot of years now, and every year it keeps getting bigger. So that's one of our big ones that we have, and then we have little ones like every 2 months cleaning up the section of the highway near Red Rock Reserve. We get a number of people out there, and then we have a huge brunch at one of our members' houses following that. We have, of course, in Vegas, we have a lot of events we do.
Mhm. Yeah, so they're meaningful projects is the point, and he can invite people to that they want to have a part. Hey, I get to bring this kid shopping. I can change this kid's life that hasn't had that opportunity, and it's meaningful. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, in Nevada, several of the clubs have jumped on that Santa Claus bandwagon, and it's a big, 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 big deal. Now,
Oh
how
yeah,
about
we had
speakers?
most of the clubs in the Vegas area, jumped in with volunteers.
Yeah, people want to be a part of it. How about speakers? Who's been your
Yeah.
best speaker for the year? What do you got for me, Carolyn? Who's been your best
Well,
speakers?
actually, speakers has been one of the best ways to get new members.
Mhm.
We really, I think we kind of got this recipe down now. I think back in the day we were just inviting whoever we could get. And sometimes that's okay too, but getting speakers that already they want to network, they want to be out in the community. And so we give them a platform to speak. And and so like I'll give an example. I met a commander from the Young Marines and it was at a joint Rotary event that was for the community for what was that called, Barbara? For the safety for the emergency preparedness deal. Yeah. So we had that and she happened to be there. And I noticed I'm familiar with Young Marines. We introduced each other, exchanged cards, and I followed up with her and I asked her to be a speaker. And because I already knew the program, I thought this is perfect. It's going to fit right in our club. They have programs, plus we're trying to develop an interact club. And there are all these things. We're looking for kids for our to send to some of the Rotary leadership programs. And so we set up the meeting, and it was great. They brought three of their local commanders. Our club got to understand them. One of the commanders is like willing to join our club. We're talking about maybe having an honorary member. He's got connections with all these other groups for some of the goals that we have in our club. So it's kind of a
Yeah,
win-win all the way around. And it was like,
exactly.
wow, that was perfect.
And the point that I'm making here is if you have a service project that you can invite people to, if you have a guest speaker, the mayor, the police chief, the commander of the peace,
Hmm.
whoever it is, you invite people and you can and then invite people and say, hey, we have the mayor coming. We have this
Hmm.
thing. I know you're in the military. This could be something that you'd love to do. And it's a heart. You can bring them in. And the first thing I'm saying is we want to have things that you're proud of that you can bring people to. If you have that, now you can invite them. The second thing that we want to look at is you can have these great things, but if you don't tell anybody about them, guess what happens?
Nothing.
Exactly. Nothing,
Yeah.
because nobody knows, so they're not coming. So what we have to then do is invite them. And I did this example back in August when we did a Rotary Essentials of it. And I said, what if you were having this great event at your house and you were having a live band and it was some big name superstar that was coming into your backyard and you were going to have Wolfgang Puck as going to be the caterer and you're going to have an open bar. It's going to be a freaking great party. All right. How many people would just show up if you didn't invite them? You
Not
know,
any.
nobody, or hopefully nobody. Um, but if I called you up and I said, "Hey, Larry, I
Mhm.
have this thing going," it would really mean a lot to me if you came. It would be so much fun. It'll be a blast. Can you come and bring your wife with you? And if you have somebody, I really want to get out there in the community. Uh, would you join us?
Of course.
Probably everybody would say, heck yeah, I'm going to be in. I'd love to do it. But that's the power of an invitation. If we're not inviting people, guess what happens? Is nothing.
Mhm.
So we have to invite them. And then the question is, how do you do that? You can invite people by sending them a text. Hey, um, we're doing this thing. We'd love to have you. It's going to be at my house. Here's the address. Let me know if you can make it. You send out 20 invitations, you're probably going to get 4 or 5 people that would say, yeah, I would love to do that. Thank you for thinking of me. And you'll probably have 2 or 3 or 4 other people that, hey, I can't make it, but keep me in mind for the next thing. And then guess what you do with the next thing? You invite them again. All right. You could have a phone call with people. You could have, this is going to freak you guys out. you could actually talk to people and ask them if they'd like to come. I know it's weird, but sometimes it actually works. All right. So let's say then they show up. They come to your meeting because you said, "Hey, the mayor is going to be here," or the person from the Marine Corps junior, whatever that thing is, they're going to show up if you'd like to come. They actually come to your meeting and they really enjoy it. And you never talk to them again. How likely are they to join your club? Very unlikely. I mean, a few of them will say,
Mhm.
"Hey, I'm really like this. Please let me know what I need to do to be a part of this." But most people don't do that. Most people, you call them up afterwards, um, and you say, "Hey, Bruce, thank you coming for coming. Um, you know, appreciate you being here. Tell me how did you enjoy it?" And then Bruce says, "What do you say, Bruce?" You're muted there, brother. You're muted.
It's wonderful. Best experience I ever had.
Best experience I ever had. Yeah, that would probably be it. They would come to the thing and they'll say that it was the best experience I ever had. Thank you, Bruce. That was a great answer. Be the hopeful answer, but most people do enjoy it though, especially if it's a warm and inviting atmosphere that the club coming, or let's say you did a service project and they got to be a part of it. Hey, Bruce, what'd you think? We got to take these kids out shopping. Did you enjoy yourself? And then Bruce would start telling you about it. But thank you for coming is the phone call. It's an easy thing. I appreciate it. What did you think? Um, is that something that you want to get involved? Should I invite you to other ones that we're doing? And then Bruce, what do you say to that?
Still on? Still on. Yeah.
Hey,
We'd love to
should
have
should,
you.
should I invite you to other ones here, Bruce?
Sure.
Yeah,
What
that's
do you got coming?
Yeah. And now you're off to the races and they're involved in Rotary. If they express a desire to serve or connect or to lead, Rotary might be a really great fit for them. And in order to follow up, we need to have a mechanism to follow up. It could be a great um, fit, but if we don't follow up with the people and then say, "Hey, Bruce, next week we have um, the city manager is going to be speaking. I know you enjoyed the mayor. I don't know if you want to meet this guy." And Bruce would say, "Sure, I'd love to do that." Now he comes for a second time, and all of a sudden now he finds out when he gets there he meets two or three other friends that he happened to know that are in the club, uh, and now it's a sense of community. It's a sense of belonging, and somebody appreciates him being there. Um, but you have to have some sort of a mechanism to capture and follow up on people. And by the way, like I said before, if you invite 20 people, there's a good chance that four or five of them would love to come and see whoever it is to come to the service project or to hear the speaker or the social event. We're having a Christmas party or a fundraiser. We're going to do the turkey trot. And if you'd like to come, it's really a fun party when you come there. They'd love to do it, but they have something else going on. Um, don't be afraid to invite them a second time to something else. And you can just ask them, "Hey," and mostly they'll tell you, "Hey, I can't make it, but keep me in touch." So to keep that prospect, so to speak, in the pipeline, what we do is we have um, a prospect list. It's just I do this in Word, but you can however you want to do this. This example, let's say we're talking about Bill Bird. I have his contact information. It'll be his phone number and his email address. Um, and Bill, I just write a little note. Bill spoke to us, at our club. He was one of our speakers, and He was talking about a community project. It's not his full-time job. He's actually a realtor. He's married. He has 2 kids. He's interested and he wanted information on joining the club. And a lot of times that's where people fall through the cracks. So we agreed to discuss it some more. So then, a week later, we follow up, hey, we met on the phone. They went over what he's looking for. Why'd you come? What are you interested in, Bill? And they tell you, hey, I was looking for, you know, such and such. But it turns out he really didn't have the finances to join our club. But you know what? He might be a really good fit for a Rotaract club or for the San Dimas club that's next to us. So we contacted him with that person. So Lydia, I haven't asked you ahead of time, but you obviously follow up in Duarte. You guys have about more than doubled the size of your club in the last few years, and you're muted, so you need to unmute. And how do you follow up with people?
Usually personal calls or seeing them in person. That's the first thing. A lot of texting. What do you think? We'd love you to come again. And it's worked for us, inviting people to be part of a project and then saying, hey, would you like to do more of this? And we've gotten members that way as well. They've fallen in love with a project. And what other kind of projects do you think we should have, in getting their input? So it's worked for us.
So you find out what's of interest to them.
Absolutely. And we let them know that if they have an interest, we don't have to have the whole club participating. If 3 or 4 people want to be part of that, volunteering at a shelter or whatever, that's part of the club, and that's important. Let's do it, because the super build, we have maybe 2 to 3 people that are really into that, and we say go for it. And so they know it doesn't have to be en masse. It can be the couple or the few, or they can invite someone else, to come with them.
And then when you call or talk to the people, do they come to everything that you invite them to?
Yes and no. I would say on the whole, yes, as long as you give them enough notification. We do have a calendar of our different events that goes out at every meeting. It's on the back of the agenda, so they can see everything coming up. And so we
people
say,
actually know what you're going to do.
right.
That way they can invite people.
So we say, hey, this is what's upcoming in the club. So look at it and see if you're available. And we also tell our people, you let your friends know. So this year and last year are really the years that we have had more members bring in new members. And that is great, because usually it's been 2 or 3 of us. Now it's extended, so that's a good thing.
That's great. But the point is that she follows up, and my point is, have something where you keep track so you don't forget about the people where they fall through the cracks because you didn't think of it. Because sometimes, somebody's not interested in this, they're not interested in this, but they are passionate about some other thing. And when you have that, you have the notes, and the way that you have the notes is you talk to the people and you ask them, what are you interested in? How can we be of help to you? How can we serve you? And, and tell them about what we do. And if it lines up, keep them in the loop after
Dennis?
that, keep the connection alive. Yes, sir.
I think it's really awesome, your slide here, that you put in a speaker who came to speak and someone from a local food bank that is also a councilwoman. This is really great, because a lot of times we invite people to come speak, or we'll give awards away to people, scholarships or grants, and they'll come to a meeting and pick up a grant, but we don't ever follow up with the conversation oh, this could be your club too. Oh, you should come back. We'd love for you to come back. And next week we have so and so. And if we don't do that, I think sometimes people who come to speak or get an award from us or whatever, they think that this is a private club, they're not invited, and it's really great you gave me this thing and I'm done. They're not going to think about coming back unless you invite them. So I love
Exactly.
that you use those examples.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And here I put these three, these are all actual things. I changed the names to protect the innocent. Um, but they're all actually things that people that we were working with, and it gives different perspectives. But the key is find out who they are, what they're interested in, follow up, and invite them. And then Carolyn, I don't know, Lydia, if you saw that note that Carolyn just put in, where she was asking, um, let's see here. It, it says, what did your club do different to get more members to bring in new members? And that was one of the hardest things that we found in Glendora. We had two or three people that were inviting people. And then little by little, we're getting more people that are inviting people. But how did you do it, Lydia, in your club?
Okay, well, just going back about 6 years ago, 7 years ago, we were at an all-time low, and people were considering saying maybe we should close the club. All right, so we had a discussion, and I said very honestly, we have 7 people in this club, and 3 of us are rotating the presidency. All the rest of us, you've got to get your butts in gear, you guys. 3 of us cannot save this club. Invite your neighbor, invite so and so. Each of us needs to bring in somebody. And then what we also did is one of our members put together, we have a YouTube channel and we have other things they can refer to. And so when we give out things, there's a QR code. You click on that because everybody loves QR codes, right? And then it gives you background of our club. And because we do have the distinction of being the ones that brought in women, oh, we just tout that all over the place. I have a couple little quick slides on how we brought women in and the US Supreme Court decision. So we have material available that we can readily refer them to. And what we're also thinking of maybe is giving some kind of other incentive the members when they bring in new members. And we have yet to figure that out, but a little carrot to dangle.
Yeah, and what we found in Glendora, there was a handful, like what you were just saying, Lynn. There was maybe three of us that were really doing the bulk of the work. But what we would do is each time we did an event, we started showing them, this is how I'm inviting people. And then they'd see that 4 people showed up because we sent out text and invited them to the speaker that we're having. And then, hey, last time we did this, we sent out text, you can do it. And I sent them a text that just modify it and put your name on it, and now they're doing it. And again, it's still a struggle. The majority of people still are not doing that, but now we have several people that are doing it, and it's kind of building momentum. But we need to keep moving here so we don't run out of time. Uh, the slide here just says to keep the collection alive. When you're dealing with people who are real prospects, and by real prospect, I mean somebody who would be a good fit for the club that you would like them to be in your club, and they have indicated that they have interest, where it's a good fit for them and it's a good fit for us. Just make sure that you're keeping in front of them and touch them every once in a while. Say hi, because you earn respect. You earn the right to invite them where they want to hear from you. Don't bug them, but make sure you're not forgetting about them either. All right. So now, once somebody says, yes, I've come to this thing, I'm very interested. The next thing that we talk about is have a one-on-one conversation with that person. Zoot has a thing where we put together, here's what we go over in our conversation. And basically what I would say is, hey, um, thank you, appreciate you coming. Gino, you indicated an interest in the club. Why don't we get together? We'll have some coffee or we'll have breakfast together and let's talk about what you're looking for. And I'll explain a little bit about Rotary and what we do in our specific club and see if we're a good fit and just have a conversation. And during that conversation, the first thing, great, thank you for being here. What interests you about Rotary? Tell me what you're looking for, and they'll tell you. And then I'll ask them, how much do you know about Rotary? And sometimes it's a little, and sometimes it's a lot. But in either case, well, here's what we do, and I explain what Rotary is about and the values that we have and the projects that we have and what it opens up to them. And then I'll use my club as the example. So here's what we do in our club. Well, we do this meal packaging where we put together 30,000 meals for the Shepherd's Pantry. We do a teacher mini grants. We do the flag display, all the different things that we do. We send kids to Riley, depending on the customer or the prospect, would depend on what we'd emphasize. And then we talk about what we expect from our members. Well, here's what our dues are. Um, Here's what we do at our meetings, and here's what we're expecting that people will be involved. They'll come to meetings, they'll go to service project. And once you've already had the conversation and asked them about what's important to them, you can show them the specific aspects that meet that need and that value. And if it's a good fit and if it's beneficial to all concerned, Zoot, the next slide says, what we then do is invite them to join. And it doesn't need to be some big elaborate, you don't have to be a super salesperson. You just ask them. So that's what we do. Hey, Gino, we were just talking about all this. It sounds like you'd be really great. We would love to have somebody like you in our club. Sounds like you'd bring a lot to the table. Is this something that you're interested in? Again, is it a good fit for you? And if it is, he'll say yes. If it's not, that's okay too. And you go from there. But if it is, great. I'll send you an application, or we can fill out the application right now if you brought one, and get the ball rolling. But ask for the order, so to speak. Hey, it's a good fit. You said you're looking for this. This is what we're looking for. And Gino, you bring a lot to the table. We would love for you to be part of that. It's very simple, and just ask them. And again, they often say yes, but sometimes um, your club is not a good match for a person. Hey, our club is $720 a year. For some people, that's a lot of money. Maybe they can't afford that, but you know what? Maybe that's why we started our Rotaract Club, or that's why they have the E Club next door to us in San Dimas. Hey, you might not be a good fit here, but these guys could probably use you, and that would give you an opportunity. Or maybe we're a breakfast club, but they got to bring their kids to school, and they don't work out. But yeah, Monrovia is a lunch club. That could be something really cool for you, etc. You can still find a home for them. Zoot, is there anything you want to add to that, or
Yeah, I think when people get to the point where they're really considering joining, I find there's two statements that I use that kind of pull them over the top when they're not sure if they want to join or not join. One is if they're really interested in the network. I say, I was told when I joined Rotary that I was one phone call away from anything I needed in town, and I found that to be true. Like there's never been a problem that I couldn't handle through my Rotary network. It's the best network I have. That's the first one. The other one is if they're really into service, I tell them this. I've always been into service because I run a nonprofit organization. But for me, what I found when I joined Rotary is that whatever service I want to do for the community is amplified and leveraged because of global grants, local grants, all of the programs that we do, all the people and the volunteers we have. If I want to do a project for the community, I'm going to be able to do it 10 times more through Rotary. And usually those two statements one of those two statements is going to get them over the hump of whether they want to join or not join.
Yeah, that's great. All right. So let's say then that they say, yes, I would like to join. So now you have to have something in place where you take people through and you do it in a professional manner. Because so many times, especially if a club has been struggling and really hasn't seen new members for a while, a lot of times they don't really know what to do. Um, how do we onboard? What do we do? Yeah, Larry, you got something?
Well, what we do, I mean, we have a very structured process from first contact all the way through membership. And so in my committee, underneath myself and Antoinette, as soon as someone has joined, and it's a process, our belief it's a privilege to be in Rotary, we're not trying to get numbers. And so if somebody's made that commitment after going through our process, and they get their induction ceremony and they get to speak and introduce, but even on the onboarding process where it's mandatory they attend 2 lunches to get a feel for the speakers we get and our people, and of course we underwrite their lunch for the 2 visits. And once they're in, we do a mini induction right away. Not a mini induction, but a mini what would you call it? It's an explanation of all of what we're doing, how they do it, what they need to attend. After that, there's a full orientation is the word I was looking for. And they're assigned a mentor right away. We have a mentoring committee, a mentoring member of our committee who assigns a mentor who is kind of like their Alcoholics Anonymous good buddy. And so they have a go-to person dedicated to them.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and I attend, I'd say 99% of our meetings. As soon as they walk in as a guest, I walk them through, introduce them to people even before they sit down at their first lunch, and get them a seat. I have a table reserved for new member prospects, and so they're sitting with others who are looking with some experienced people. So, like I say, it's a long process. It takes sometimes a month to 2 months to get somebody on board through the
intentional, and you guys do a very good job with that. And what he just said is, you're tracking exactly with where I wanted to go, Larry. Excellent. When I sit down with people, I clearly explain the application process and what we expect from them. Stay back there, Zeus. Keep on there. All right. Where we'll go and we'll say, here's what the application process is. In our club, we're required to get board member approval. And then we fly the name out. We want to make sure that if the person that we're inviting has issues, we don't want to bring that into the club. If they are an embezzler and they embezzled money from somebody in the club, we probably don't want to bring that in. Know that ahead of time. Have it where we fly it. That's something we do. We invitation. I tell them it's by invitation, and here's how we're going to do it. Once they say yes, and this makes sense, we tell them how much it's going to be. You give me a check, then they're become a part of the club. We do an an induction, and it's a new member induction. And we tell them, hey, we want to make this is a big deal. What you're doing is a life-changing piece. We'd love to have you bring your family, your friends, and everything else, and seeing how cool it is for you. It's a very good thing. And just so happens that sometimes one of their family or friends may want to be a member also. They get to expose to what Rotary is all about because that's part of the induction ceremony. And with that, we make it so much about the person, not as much as about what Rotary is, but who this person is, where we're introducing them. And then go ahead and take the next slide here. But we want them to feel proud, and we give them a new member packet. We give them a T-shirt. We give them a name tag at that piece. And so now once we have we've onboarded that new member, the next thing that we want to do is we want to engage them as quickly as possible. And Larry said this, assign them a mentor. Rotary Leadership Institute is probably the best tool that we have to onboard people and show them the big picture of Rotary. What is Rotary all about? I convinced my club that anybody who joins our club over the first year, we will pay for their tuition for part one of Rotary Leadership Institute. Let's say we have 10 new members, that's $450. Are you kidding me? We'll get that back many times. That's a great investment. That will immediately engage people and keep them. They'll see what Rotary is all about. So that I think is really cool. We also put together a red badge type program, and we're just starting to do this because this is an area that our club was kind of failing a little bit in, or at least not doing a real good job. I think the next slide, Zoot, I think we got, yeah, here's an example where during the induction ceremony, we give them this, and it's a to-do list that's designed to help them do a better, to become more familiar with Rotary, what it's all about. And here are some of the things we'd like you to do. Attend a club board meeting, serve as a greeter so you get to know all the members, give a craft talk where you share about your own life, people can get to know you, bring a guest to a meeting, help introduce them and see what how excited they get. Come to one of the committee meetings because they get assigned a committee, be a part of one of our service projects, attend a social event, get together with your mentor, visit another Rotary club because it's not just what Glendora does. There's other clubs that do things better than us. Go and see them. See, they're different than us. Here's the Rotary Basics Guide, or here's our district event that we're doing. See the big picture, but you get the general idea. Here's what we have. We get them engaged right away, and we get them on the thing. And then taking that to the next piece here, I wanted to close out by saying that membership is exactly what Carolyn said. You were so spot on here, Carolyn, that it's not, hey, I want to get these bodies in, because you see these clubs that they get all these people, they get excited. I put this thing together, and 2 years later, the club doesn't exist or is limping along because it wasn't what you shared. They didn't put a foundation in where we're really showing them what Rotary is all about and how it can change your life, and bringing them into a community where they have a sense of belonging. People join Rotary because they want to have purpose. People join Rotary because they want to have an impact with their lives. Okay, here we can do that. People join Rotary because they want to be a part of a community. Hey, I'm in Lancaster in your case, Carolyn. Okay, hey, if you're in the Rotary Club, we're having the mayor come speak, and the city manager and the Marine person and, somebody from Edwards Air Force, but things, Apple Valley Community College president is one of your colleagues coming to be you get to meet all of these people if you're part of our club. You get to network and connect with other people and make friends and business contact. It's a cool thing to do. Here's the value that we have. But you build that and you build relationships. It's not about selling somebody something because you want new members. It's about building a foundation and relationships that matter, where they see value and they want to be a part of it. They not only join, but they stay. That's what it is. And the role of the membership committee is not just growing the numbers, it's growing relationships. That's what has stronger members. That's what has stronger clubs. And that's what makes Rotary stronger as an organization. So, Zoot, we also have some things on all of these sections along the way. We have some tools there if they can tap into and adapt for their clubs, like the prospect list or the discussion, the new member discussion, or an invitation. You said that you wanted to make those available. Is that how are we doing that?
Making what available?
The resources that we put together, like I say, the prospect list or the induction ceremony. We had some of those things. Can we make those available?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can put those in the chat for download. It'd probably be easier to Tom, you have an email list of the people on this call, right?
Yeah, I do. I can get it anyway.
Okay, if you could get that to me, then I can email that out to them. It's probably easier than to make them download it from the chat.
Okay.
And I'll also send it out to all of the membership chairs as well.
Yeah. And Gilda put in the chat, can we put that on the website?
That would be even a better way to do it, that we could just send out a link in the highlighter.
Yeah, I like that. I think that would be easy, and understand that some of those are, in our case, Glendora specific. Some of them are a little more generic, but every club is different. You have to modify stuff to you, but it'll take you 10 minutes instead of 3 days to put things together, which all of a sudden means that you have a plug and play where you can just deliver this to your board of directors or your membership chair, or if you're the membership chair, you can start applying them. And again, some things you're probably doing really well. I know that's with Glendora. Some things we're doing well and some things not so much. But if somebody has a better plan and can just give it to us, copy it.
Do we have somebody who has access to the website and could put that on the website?
Soden can do that for us.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, great.
So with that, Zoot, I'm done. I don't know if you want to open it up for
We've got about
questions.
6 minutes left. Are there any questions left?
I have a comment. If we're sharing a lot of those things, when I was AG, part of our monthly meeting, my monthly meeting with the presidents, was for them to brag about something that they had, a form, an idea. And
Yep.
then I always asked them to share it with the other presidents. So therefore, yes, we're getting these things from this presentation, but something that Gilda might have, Carolyn might have, Zoot might have, that I go, well, this is the one that we need. We're going to adapt this one. So if you have something fantastic you want to share as far as membership, some type of a form, would you guys share it with all of us, please?
Yeah, and push it through Zoot. And I hope I'm not overstepping here, Zoot, but
That's fine.
Zoot is our membership chair. If you send it to Zoot, he can. That's what he does.
That'd be perfect. Thank you.
And just to be clear, Dennis, are you going to talk to Soden, or do I need to talk to Soden about that? About putting the things on the website?
If you can talk to Soden, that would be great, because I'm going to be out
Okay.
of commission for another week and a half. So, Gino, you had your hands up too. And
wait, before we get to Gino, Caroline had a little comment here that it's important also to recognize members who brought a new member in. So that's something that we haven't talked about, but it's good to make sure people are, giving kudos for bringing in new members.
Yeah, and what we do is during the induction, we bring them up as the sponsor, and we make a big deal out of that. That's how we do it in our club.
Okay, Gino, you're up.
So here's an analogy for anybody who plays sports. In order to excel at sports, you should probably stretch first. So it's great to have these things in place, but if your club is trying to grow, if your club is struggling, if your club is having issues, I would suggest one of the first things that you do is peel back. Take a look at your club. Do a club assessment. There's a club assessment tool that is available. And, you have to, what you're doing. You got to see what you're doing, what you're not doing. See who's in the room, who's not in the room. Think of all these things that are going on before you start playing the game. Because if you play the game without changing or modifying those core beginning foundation things, some clubs aren't aware of their barriers. I go to the Las Vegas club all the time, but price is a barrier for them. And they don't understand or realize that as many times as I've had conversations with them, they don't see it as a barrier. They see it as well, maybe it's just not a good fit for you. I don't know if that's really the best way to say that. Also, when you have speakers, sometimes some people need to really think about if they align with Rotary. Do they align with what Rotary is doing, with Rotary's core values? I have taken guests to club meetings and have sat in actual meetings with speakers, and they have looked at me like, what is this? I don't understand. It makes no sense. It doesn't align with Rotary. And then I'm not saying that makes me look stupid, but it throws something off. And so oftentimes clubs can operate by what's good for the club, but public image isn't about what we think about ourselves. It's what the other people think about us. So we need to be very mindful and intentful in what we're doing, that it serves everyone and not just us.
Right.
That's
Being
it.
intentional, exactly right. And Gilda, you had something too, and
Yeah,
I
I
know.
just wanted to share quickly. I put it in the chat about the comment that Zoot made, how to recognize the sponsors. We do the same like you in Glendora, where we make a big deal on the induction day, and then they're in touch with that member, through their journey, whatever happens. But also, other districts are toying with this idea of if you have extra Paul Harris points, you can give those Paul Harris points. Either you can give to members who bring or when they join. So, that's a conversation you can have with your board. Um, and then I wanted to share that earlier when we talked about, you know, who to invite, and I think Zoot mentioned this. So we had our RILA students come, and they run a meeting after they go to RILA, and the parents were there. And this one parent, afterwards, we had a conversation with her, and we said, maybe you come back and maybe you consider joining. And she said, I didn't think I could join. I'm a stay-at-home mom. I'm not in business. And we said, oh, no, 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 no. You do not have to be in business to join. So there's still this feeling out there. There's this idea that people have on the outside where they think they can't join for whatever reason, right? A lot of people say, oh, Rotary is for the rich men with white hair, right? The retired people with, right? So we've all heard that. So we have to demystify that and just do a better job. And the RILA, the TLC, all the Interact, we can reach out to those folks too. So
Yeah, that to Gino's point about making it's the impression that we leave. What reality is and what the impression is might be two different things, and we have to be intentional about what are we trying to put forth and how are we going to do that. And by the way, in the chat, Larry said that the Vegas Club has a good process in place, so we should tap into that and see if some of their tools are better than the ones that we have, and utilize that. And that's what we want to do together. We could save each other an awful lot of time if we're just intentional. We have a process in place. We will move the needle. So thank you all for being a part of this. I think it's great. Zoot, anything else that you want to do before we close up here, sir?
No, we're running over. I don't want to keep people, but thank you all for coming, and I'll try to get that information out to you as soon as possible.
thank you, Zoot. Thank you, Dennis.
All right.
Thank you, everyone.